So this is no diagnosis. It's just kind of what, like a professional opinion, you probably want to call it. And you're on YouTube, Nelson Counseling. So maybe you can share a little bit about what you've seen on YouTube before, not naming any content creator name or any, just I guess maybe the environment on YouTube that you may have experienced.
I've been on YouTube for a while now, on and off as a content creator. I just recently decided to um, put a much stronger focus on it because what I've been seeing from people that are, whether it's somebody that's just participants in shows that like to kind of show hop and stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
to even also a lot of the content creators, I'm seeing a ton of people that are probably depressed,
Mm-hmm.
people that are attention seeking. I'm seeing the worst qualities of everyone. I mean, like literally the most evil thing you can think of is like just openly said,
Right.
and it's such a sense of apathy and a lack of empathy. It's insane. And one of the major things that I'm noticing is who stands out as content creators, who does really well, and why do they do really well. And
Mm-hmm.
so the conclusion that I kind of came up with is I think a lot of the content creators have personality disorders.
Okay.
As I've some of them I've sat and watched them to see what was different about them, to see if they were like really engaging or if they were just like really knowledgeable. I didn't come away with that feeling. I see more symptoms of a personality disorder present, which the crazy thing is YouTube is the perfect place for people with cluster B personality disorders. Cluster B is kind of a category of personality disorders that's kind of characterized by like being dramatic, extra, impulsive, things like that. I'm seeing a ton of narcissists, people that look like, seem like they have histrionic personality disorder, maybe borderline personality disorder. I'm seeing a lot of disorders, so it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I'm not a clinician, but when I've seen some things, it was kind of shocking to me as well to see a certain type of person saying a certain thing, or just any common person just openly saying some of them, like you would just some things you just would never say. It's like, why would you gotta have a certain mindset to say certain stuff. I'm like, I couldn't imagine myself saying that. So it's like, where is
I
this
think
all?
all the normal people are like all the regular everyday people now, because you don't have to put a face to a text.
Hmm.
They can really just freely play off of whatever thought that they had in their mind. So some people just really strong, like whether they've experienced something in their life and they're upset about it or had a really bad day, they get to voice that to somebody else on YouTube and not take accountability for it. So I think because there's a lack of accountability with YouTube and like these live streams and things like that,
Hmm.
people just will say whatever comes to their mind and not feel anything about it.
Yeah, and so what? Another thing I noticed too. Well, and you know what? You could probably go back to what was that? Personality disorder.
Mhm.
Is that what you said? Personality disorder.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
kind of explain what that is and what it may look like? Because I got an idea, but you know.
yeah. So personality disorders are really, um, they're really just that. Is people that have ways of thinking and behaving and acting that are so pervasive or so upfront that it impairs their daily functioning in life. It impairs their ability to have successful relationships. Um, it's different from mental illness. Mental illness, like you can have depression,
Mhm.
um, you can get anxiety. Those are things that can occur. It can happen to you. A personality disorder is who you are. So that it's a big difference. Us as just normal everyday people, we're all kind of born with certain levels of emotional intelligence, certain levels of empathy, certain levels of kindness, certain levels of loyalty, things like that. That's kind of what makes up all of our kind of thinking patterns and behaviors. With somebody with a personality disorder, it's those areas for them are diminished. Like some of them are almost non-existent. So that's what makes it a disorder. And so it works out really well though in some cases. Like let's say somebody has something like histrionic personality disorder, and I can kind of, as we're talking, probably go through some of like characteristics and stuff like that. But somebody with like histrionic they are like highly resistant to critique. So somebody could say something negative up to them or about them, and it just bounces right off them. It's like it was never said. Like it doesn't impact them in any way. Like me as a content creator, and I'm sure a lot of the other like people that are like passionate about what they talk about and like really want to help people, we take critique hard. If we see a bunch of negative comments inside of our, on one of our videos or inside a chat, we start to get really reflective and like, oh no, did I say the wrong thing? Did I do something wrong? Do people not like my content? And so a lot of us drop off and stop making content for a while. We stop engaging with the chat. We stop making comments. And our channels, as a result, don't grow as fast as somebody who has a personality disorder could, because they can read 10,000 negative comments, not blink,
right,
and hyper focus on the one positive and make themselves seem like they're on top of the world, like they're the greatest to ever do it. So they really have a leg up.
Yeah, again, and it's weird, right? And it's funny you said it, because I know Leader Turning had mentioned that before. A streamer or two ago, he mentioned on his stream one time about, and I think I said it too, it's like we can be on YouTube creating original content, really be passionate about helping someone and providing information, providing good content, want to help the next content creator or help the next person. And you can have 1,000 great great comments, and that one bad comment, you be like, oh my God, and we kind of hone in on that one bad comment. It's probably a troll or something, but you're putting your all into something, then you feel like, oh dang, I failed.
Yeah, I mean, because we're all inherently self-reflective. We gravitate towards like, how can we get better, or is there something wrong with what I'm doing? That kind of thinking pattern doesn't really exist in some different personality disorders. So they don't have that self-reflective quality, because some of them they have an image of themselves in their mind, and they create their whole personality around this image that's distorted. So as long as their image looks fine, there's nothing wrong. They're the best person to ever do it. Everybody else is beneath them. Like it's crazy seeing the people that are succeeding on this platform. They legitimately probably have personality disorders. I'm not going to name any of them, of course, but it's amazing because I'll sit down and I watch their streams sometimes just so that I can review all their symptoms and like see where it's playing out inside of what they're doing and what they're saying. It is like, it's amazing. It's really like fascinating. But
people like that can take like one negative comment or several negative comments and do a whole nother stream on that and just rack up more subscribers, more views and likes and clicks, just responding to the negative and twisting it to their benefit.
Yep, they are really good at that. They can in their mind, they just debunked everything that you said and shut it down. But in reality, they could be saying something just really shallow and really really basic, but
Right.
in their mind, it's like profound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm reaching here, but it comes off with them and their subscribers and their followers is kind of cultish, like that. It give me the cult vibe because I
Yeah.
hear some things and it's like you can't really believe this. Have you, do you know who this person is? How are you making them? How are they important enough to even be able to tell you these things, and you're just taking it and running with it as if it's law, and if it's true?
Well, that's the thing with some of these, personality disorders. It draws a certain type of person to them. So people that are typically depressed, have low self-esteem, have experienced trauma or abuse in their life, have negative self-images, those people tend to gravitate towards some of the disorder, like narcissistic personality disorder. They've really drawn to that. And histrionic personality disorder, like they are so drawn to it because they feel such a connection and such an acceptance that it becomes very much like a cult, because they're idolizing the person that they see, and they genuinely they think that they're at a level that they want to reach, and that by joining their their subscription or joining their group, they're actually now set apart. They're better than the rest. They're unique. And people in general want to feel like they're special and unique, but the people that kind of really suffer from depression, think about it, what they really crave is acceptance. So to find a platform where you're accepted, or so-called accepted, you're going to gravitate to that.
Right. And that kind of brought me into the FOMO, fear of missing out. And you can be online and you see someone, they're at a party or they're post a pic. This is not just about YouTube, but I mean, we're on YouTube, so we kind of, it's
Right.
social media. And like you weren't invited, or you be up hours on end scrolling through, and you feel like you're missing out on something. You weren't invited. Somebody else is doing something you're not doing, and you don't belong.
I mean, that could be a ton of different things. That whether that's some form of low self-esteem, depression, whether that is like some type of attachment disorder. Like there's different ways you can go of like kind of thinking about why somebody would behave that way. You probably need to know a little bit more about the person and why they're doing that to kind of figure that out. But yeah, I've also seen a lot of people that chat hop, that that live stream hop, and they are just wherever there's a live that's got more than like 500 on it, they're going to be there.
Let's see. D said, I definitely suffer from FOMO. It's why I don't sleep much. Really, D? It was a time where I didn't get a lot of sleep, and people used to say in the chat, "Dang, you were just over here. Did you ever sleep?" And I had to think about it, like a few hours, because I, doing all that moderating, and I had to cut a lot of that back. So you probably won't see me online a lot and chats a lot, because I mean, I have to take care of my mental health and my and get in my health in general. Because if you don't get your rest in, you can't function properly.
Yeah, in their defense though, sometimes like this really is becoming like a niche, like its own community, like all of these content creators together. And I think because so many people jump in and out to different streams, you might jump onto somebody's live stream and see a bunch of people that so you feel connected. And maybe there's a hot topic or something controversial happens or exciting happens on one stream, and it carries over to somebody else's. So it's like a what are those shows called? It's almost like a mini soap opera. Like you have to stay tuned to how's this person going to react? Oh, now they said this. How does this live streamer going to react?
A reaction.
Yeah, it's like I can't miss out because what's going on right now is just too engaging.
and you gotta catch it live. It's not the same replaying. It's
Yeah.
like you gotta watch it live. Gotta be in the chat engaging.
Yeah, if you miss it, it doesn't make any sense to go back in and put a comment after the video is over. It doesn't have that same, doesn't give you that same excitement or rush.
Right, it hit different. What they call it, what we say, it hit different.
This is a great topic, and everything that Nelson said is just amazing. Nelson, you're doing amazing work, brother. I love what you're doing, man.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
And I love all the titles. You guys don't sleep on those. Don't sleep on the titles you got. That NCC, that's isn't that National Certified Counselor?
Yes.
And the LPC is Licensed Professional Counselor, right?
Yes.
So you I know you have at least a master's degree. You have a doctor's degree yet?
No, I don't have a doctorate.
That's okay, but you got all the designations, man, which is amazing.
I'm trying.
If anybody, I know you guys don't doubt this, but if anybody have any doubt, this guy knows what he's talking about. He knows the inside and out. I'm not as well specialized in my education as he is, but I'm a certified confidence coach. And when you take it on coaching, you gotta, for me, if you're gonna be serious about it and turn it into a business, you gotta get certified. In my process of all the different clients I was coaching, especially during the pandemic, a lot of depression was coming up because of grief. And you see a lot of people that get involved with drama because drama comes from trauma. I was kind of forced, because I want to take care of my clients. I was forced to go get certified in CBT. And I'm sure Nelson knows what that is. For those out there, it's cognitive behavioral therapy. And then I almost went and got another certification in DBT, only so that I can take care of my clients better. So when he mentions about personality disorders, guys, listen to him carefully, because right now in America, we live in a narcissistic culture. And because of this culture, it's going to breed narcissists. But he talked about cluster B. And cluster B is a combination of NPD, which is narcissistic. He probably explained this earlier, because I had to step away and come back. But I might be repeating what he already said. But the cluster B, there's cluster A, B, and C, and there's other specified. And this is all part of the diagnostic. Oh, I'm missing my words are going.
Diagnostic Statistical Manual.
The DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, and it breaks everything down. It's like the Bible for psychologists and psychiatrists. But cluster B got anti-personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, histrionic, what he just mentioned earlier, with that need for attention, and it's got let me see what else. It's got, I'm missing one, right? Narcissistic,
borderline.
Yeah, borderline personality disorder, which is different than bipolar. Now, having said all that, if we pay attention to what's going on out here, just look at celebrities, for example, from Kanye West to Bobby Brown, you name it. You wonder sometimes about their behavior and why they do the stuff that they do. It's not just because of trauma, and like some people like to say white supremacy, but some of these guys have been diagnosed. And in the early stages, they wasn't diagnosed, but they all come out now saying they've been diagnosed with bipolar, borderline. There's a lot of people that's been diagnosed with different personality disorders, and it explains their behavior. So now when you come to YouTube, there's people that may not have been professionally diagnosed, but when you study this work and do this work, you can see all the symptoms. That's what he was saying earlier. What I'm interested in is if we can get to a point, I don't know if we can or not. It's your show, Gail. But what do people? How do you deal with it? I mean, there's many books out there. There's The Narcissist Next Door. There's different books out there that professionals have written. But as a regular person who's not trained in this, like Nelson and myself, we're trained in this. But most people don't have this training. So then how does a regular person deal with a person who's narcissistic? How does a regular person deal with a person who's antisocial? How does a regular person deal with someone who's borderline or histrionic? And that's just 4. We're not even talking about cluster A and cluster C. We're just talking about the main ones that's more prominent. Because if you look, me coming from a celebrity world, I've seen this for decades. I've seen how performers, actors, entertainers, they're the biggest narcissists in the world, because they need that attention. They need that. It's just, and again, I don't know how deep you guys want to go, but I'm sure I'll let Nelson lead this on this, but you can look at different symptoms. But even if once you're aware, you know what's going on, then how do you deal with it? And here's the part that's really scary. What about yourself? Which ones do you have? Because none of us are perfect out here. It's just that people like Nelson and myself, we have some specialized training, we have some specialized education, and we do this work for a living. This is how I make my living. So we have to get good at it because we want to make sure we serve our clients properly.
Yeah, and just kind of piggyback off that, like some of these disorders and some of these illnesses have positive benefits to, like you mentioned Kanye. He was diagnosed as bipolar, I believe.
Yep.
And if you people regard him as a musical genius. And if you know the symptoms of bipolar, it involves the shifting moods. And so you can have a period of time, a week or a couple of weeks, that you are extremely depressed and you can't get out of bed. And then that mood can shift to hypomanic or manic, to where you have the next greatest idea that's going to make you millions of dollars, and you are able to go after that with little to no sleep. You're spending 20 hours a day working on it, and your body is just amped up, and you have all these creative thoughts. And for Kanye, he's been using that to his advantage. When he hears some type of musical thing in his head, I think what people made a big deal about him, I think he locked himself inside of a stadium or something like that to complete one of his last albums. Like he did something a little bit unorthodox, and it took him longer to produce his album. I looked at that like, oh, he probably shifted out of the hypomanic stage, and he might be inside of depression right now, because he's more than likely not going to medicate himself, because if you take medication, a lot of people say it destroys my creativity. Exactly. Yeah. So he's being forced to deal with all of those shifting emotions, and the people that he's connected to have to deal with that. And it's like being on a roller coaster. You don't know whether to be happy, you don't know whether to be angry or sad. It's like you're walking on eggshells with the person that you're with. So it's not just bad for the person that has it, it's bad for the people that are connected to the person that has it.
And he just mentioned something that we kind of do as a shortcut in this industry. Mad, bad, if the person's happy or sad. The different clusters have different nicknames. We'll call cluster A mad, M-A-D, cluster B bad, B-A-D, and cluster C sad. And so it gives us indicators on where they may go. But Kanye West not the only one. Chris Brown been diagnosed with bipolar. There's so many different celebrities and leaders have been diagnosed, but they're still functioning. Then they have a team around them. So even if Kanye West can't get out of bed because of depression, or he's off or whatever, he has a whole team. He has other producers under him that he gives direction to that will still get his work out there for him when you get to a certain level. But going back to just the regular people, everyday people, we're not dealing with celebrities on a regular basis. How do you deal with the regular YouTuber? And if before I leave here, and I'll let Nelson lead on this, but I would like to at least give you guys 2 or 3 strategies on how to deal with someone who's maybe off their rocker, if you will. Because relationships are everything. Even when I have clients that come to me for relationship issues, especially women, I love you women, but women in general, not all, but no, yes, all, but okay. But women love drama. And I try to remind them that drama destroys relationships. Yeah. For a lot of women, drama is entertainment. But there's a lot of negativity and negative energy associated with drama. You like to argue. There's no pretty way to argue with men. And that's gonna push you guys apart. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the strategies? Because I tell them all the time, drama destroys relationships, and drama comes from trauma. So a lot of that stuff, you got to go to someone like Nelson, because I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm a coach. I just happen to know some techniques and strategies around CBT. I'm certified in CBT. I'm not certified in DBT, but I know some things around DBT also, because I study that work. But you need a professional counselor, professional therapist that can help you get yourself together so you can be better to yourself and better in your relationships. Look, I'm a big believer in information. It's good to get information out there. It's good to have an awareness. I'm a big believer in information, but because I'm a coach, I believe in implementation of the information, taking action on what you're learning. Because education is not enough. You need application plus education, because we're all about, as a coach, I'm all about transformation. You don't get to transformation unless you take action. So it's good to know stuff, and it's good to have knowledge, but knowledge is not enough. You got to be able to take action on that knowledge. And I know sometimes people, you guys mentioned earlier about one of the fears, FOMO, F-O-M-O, the fear of missing out. A lot of times people don't take action because they have too much fear, too much doubt. They don't have enough confidence. And my work is to help people take action, because action is the only thing that changes your life. And also getting the proper help that you need, because sometimes if you need therapy, you're not ready for a coach. You need to heal, because the whole point of therapy is to heal you. Coaching, it's all about, hey, let's go make it happen. Let's go, But you can't do that if you're injured. You can't do that if you're hurt. And also getting the proper help that you need, because sometimes if you need therapy, you're not ready for a coach. You need to heal, because the whole point of therapy is to heal you. Coaching, it's all about, hey, let's go make it happen. Let's go, But you can't do that if you're injured. You can't do that if you're hurt. Like, just imagine, right, we're in the NBA Finals right now. If a player gets hurt, then the coach can't coach him because he can't play. He got to go put him on the bench or put him in rehab and let him get healed. Mm-hmm. So that's why the work that Nelson is doing is so important, because he's not just helping people heal, but he's actually saving people's lives. And then the other piece that we're not even talking about, which is kind of taboo to talk about, but I have to get into that with my clients, is it's not so much just a personality disorder, but what drugs are they using? Because drugs is a game changer. If they use certain drugs, they might need to be on medication. They might need to go to a rehab. Yeah. I can't really help a person that's dealing with drugs. And a lot of people who have personality disorder, especially antisocial, they do a lot of drugs. And in the industry, especially entertainment industry, forget about the entertainment industry, just regular life. People do all kind of stuff, and that changes the chemistry in your brain. That changes your decision making. That changes everything. So it's complicated. Am I right, Nelson? It's complicated, right?
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, there's so many different, rabbit holes you can go down. There's so many different ways that you can look at people and how they behave and what you should possibly do and what you shouldn't do. Being on kind of like the YouTube community is kind of difficult to really tell people how to deal with it, because people have such strong followings, such strong cultist followings, that I've seen it to where, somebody got upset and said something about one of these YouTubers, and their whole fan base got mad and started sending threats and stuff. Like they don't realize how how distorted their thinking becomes as a result of dealing with these people.
I'm definitely not an introvert. I'm probably an extrovert, but I have to be antisocial, because some of these people are here.
Ooh,
look, this is gonna be one of my strategies, is that choose your energy. What I mean by that is that there's positive energy in the world and negative energy, and certain people emanate certain energy. There's a lot of energy vampires out here, and those people you should be antisocial with. Because there's certain people I'm not going to allow their energy in my life. I'm just not going to allow it. So making a choice on who you hang out with and who you associate with is huge. So does that mean I'm antisocial? Yeah, to that person or to that group of people. And another quick one, this is something where I know everyone can't do this. I strongly recommend you do it, but I know everyone can't do it and won't do it. Is practice compassion. because if you can practice compassion, it'll lead you to a place of understanding. It'll lead you to a place of having more empathy and more sympathy for other people out there, because this world right now needs more compassion. It really does. But at the same time, don't be a fool, because you don't want to put yourself in a vulnerable position with someone. You can be compassionate and still leave people alone. But I'm a big believer in leading with compassion, you know. And then also I'll give you another C is find a good community to be a part of. But you want to be a part of a certain community because you're a part of like-minded people and people who are like-hearted. And that energy is what you want to be around.
Yeah,
there's so much negativity out here. They can't wait to like break you down. That's why I want to build you up. You know, so, but in this case, when we're talking about antisocial, not socialized with certain people, yes, there's certain people you just distance yourself from. And I even hate to say this, but take this with a grain of salt. That might mean certain family members. Love them at a distance.
Yes, absolutely.
Love them at a distance.
At a distance.
Still love them, but love them at a distance.
At a distance.
Because look, at the end of the day, guys, we are all social creatures, whether you like it or not. We're born social creatures. People come together. This is who we are. You would not be here right now if two people didn't come together. Think about it. You would not be here on this earth right now if two people didn't come together. Then a whole team had to come together to deliver you and raise you and make you who you are. So we are social creatures. We're social beings by nature. All I'm saying is that let's choose who we socialize with.
Yeah.
And if you have whatever issues you may have, be honest with yourself that you have this issue. Don't blame no one. It's not your fault. It's just what is. And then say, okay, what resources do I need to get to help me? Do I need a therapist? Do I need a coach? Because you can't win by yourself. Life is a team sport. So find people that you can be around that's going to help build you up and help you achieve your goals and help you live the life you really want to live. Like what Nelson said earlier about being happy and being healthy and being wealthy. There's people out there who are succeeding, who are living the life you want to live, and you can model success. But you don't have to be around people that's causing you to argue and fight or quote unquote bringing out the worst in you. You don't have to be around that energy. You can choose to cut that person off or distance yourself from that person. Because at the end of the day, you teach people how to treat you, and relationships are reflective. So as much as you want to blame the other person, some of that is on you too, because you're making a choice on how you move in this world. You can choose not to be around certain kind of people. At the end of the day, you are personally responsible for how you live your life. So you can choose go invest in a coach, which is investing in yourself, really. You can say, well, I was raised this way, my mom, my dad, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's the past. We can't change that. So you need some help. Go talk to someone like Nelson. Get the help that you need so that you can be better in the next 10 or 15, 20 or 30 years. You know, so because every single problem out here, guys, there's a solution. Whatever problem you have, and somebody else already had that problem and solved it. And more likely, you put it in the book. But any problem that you're having is any problem that you have right now or you're going to have in the future, you ain't the first. There's other people who had that problem and solved it already.
That's new under the sun.
So why reinvent the wheel? Go find out what they did, model success, and save yourself some time and energy. It doesn't have to be that hard unless you want to make it hard. It doesn't have to be that difficult. If you want to make it hard, then again, that's a self-esteem issue. That's a self-worth issue. You don't have to make it that hard. You don't have to suffer through life. You really don't. But other people already got it figured out.
This is Gail at Night. Thank you all for watching, and thank you for supporting. Be sure to click the like button and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and set the bell to all.